Arlene, you have a story about the Liverpool Bomber for us.
Yes, thanks, Nigel. So the Church of England have said that they're not aware of any link between the conversion to Christianity and abuse of the asylum system after it emerged that the Liverpool bomb attacker had converted to Christianity. He was also a failed asylum seeker. He had been refused permission to stay in the UK as far back as 2014. And now we have newspaper reports suggesting that changing religion could be a way to game the asylum system. Now, as an Anglican myself, I find this deeply, deeply concerning. If the church is being complicit in keeping people who could be potentially dangerous to all of us here in the UK. And I've noticed today that people are talking about asylum seekers getting tattoos of crucifixes and of Jesus to show to asylum system tribunals that they are Christians, and if they were sent back to their home country, that they would be the subject of abuse. So I think this is a real issue for the church, and you can't just say we're not aware of this happening, because if you look at the hundreds of asylum seekers who apparently were confirmed in the same cathedral as the Liverpool bomb attacker, those were all asylum seekers. And it's interesting, is it not, that there isn't the same number of Muslims coming forward to convert to Christianity who are already British citizens. There is a little Latin phrase in the law, Nigel, res ipsa loquitur. The facts speak for themselves. And I think this is a perfect example of the facts speaking for themselves. Do you not agree?
Yeah, no, I do very much. But I mean, I have to say to you, as an Anglican, that I'm afraid under the current leadership of the Anglican Church, nothing surprises me. And I think it's a church that is in very, very real trouble. The one thing that I'm curious about is, why do they bother? Why bother getting a tattoo? Why bother getting christened or confirmed into the Anglican Church? Because basically, people who fail their asylum claims get to stay here anyway, don't they? And isn't that the real scandal about last week? Isn't that the thing that really is making the public mad? That, as you say, this guy, as long ago as 2014, was refused asylum, refused refugee status, and yet he was still in the country. Isn't that the real issue here?
Well, I think that is a real scandal, but I also am very concerned that the church should be complicit in any of this. Sure. The fact that hundreds of asylum seekers have been confirmed in one cathedral says to me that there is a systematic approach to this whole issue, that people are actually saying to asylum seekers, if you become a Christian, then that's something that you can use in your tribunal to try and stay within the United Kingdom. I mean, that is a scandal for the church. And to say just that we're not aware of this happening is just not good enough, Nigel, as far as I'm concerned.
No, Arlene, you're right. It looks like that particular cathedral has been taken completely and utterly for a ride. It really, really does.
I mean, there's a danger, isn't there, that I hear everything that Arlene says, but there's a danger that the blame gets deflected onto the Church of England here, rather than, as you touched on, Nigel, the people who are really responsible for a failing, dysfunctional system, which is the Home Office. Now, it seems to me, of course, any church is going to be in the business of trying to convert people to its religion, to its denomination. It's what they're in business for. Although, of course, where conversions are found to be bogus and deliberately bogus, that, of course, needs to be challenged. I completely agree with Arlene on that. But the real culprits, I think, in this whole scenario is a Department of Government which should have deported this individual in 2015, didn't, and that ultimately has got to be where the blame lies, surely.
One of the issues is actually the process of deporting, though, because you see what happens. You know, someone puts an asylum claim in, it's rejected because it's completely spurious, and then there are legal challenges after legal challenge after legal challenge after legal challenge. And through the new, Nationality and Borders Bill, which is currently going through Parliament, it's in the report stage at the moment, Labour have kind of consistently pushed back against any kind of attempts to tighten up and to try and stop those legal challenges from being launched at the last minute. So I kind of don't really see a decent solution at the moment.
That is true.
Without getting this bill through
Labour
first.
haven't been in government for 11 years.
Oh,
and
I agree.
I was astounded to hear, Priti Patel talk about this was the result, the Liverpool Bomber, this was the result of a dysfunctional, broken asylum.
They've been in charge for 11 years.
Well, you've been running the thing for the last 11 years. If you haven't got a grip at it, you need to look at it.
But the other elephant in the room here that nobody wants to talk about, it's all too difficult, is, of course, that whilst we've got Brexit, we've stayed part of the European Convention on Human Rights, and that court in Strasbourg can still make those judgments, and it's that, Deanna, it's that, as Boris calls them, the lefty lawyers. It's all so funny, Boris, isn't it? The lefty lawyers use the European Convention on Human Rights, it's right to life, it's all of those things. And frankly, all the while we stay signed up to the ECHR, I don't think we're going to see failed asylum seekers being deported in any significant numbers at all. That's my view.